Okay. So you know how you were saying you wanted like a better handle on all things creatine,
Mm-hmm.
but you didn't want to get bogged down with like a ton of info. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I totally get that. It's so easy to get overwhelmed.
It really is. And that's why I think this deep dive is going to be perfect for you.
Oh, cool.
We're looking at this blog post from March 2025. So it's like pretty up to date.
Yeah.
And it's by this guy, Mohammed Nassif Udin. He's a fitness enthusiast and student.
Oh, cool.
And he's like tried tons of different creatine supplements.
So he probably knows his stuff then.
Oh, yeah. He's got some serious firsthand experience with it all.
So this isn't just like some random article then. This is someone who's like actually been there, done that.
Right, exactly. Like he says in the post, he's tried more tubs of that chalky powder than he can count.
Okay, I like this guy already.
I know, right? So we're going to break down his insights and see what he thinks is what's up with creatine in 2025.
This is going to be really helpful for me because I've been wanting to try creatine, but I'm not really sure where to start.
I think a lot of people feel that way, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it can be confusing.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, there's so many different types of creatine out there now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, is it just powder or are there other forms now?
Oh, there are way more forms now. Like, Muhammad talks about powders, gummies, capsules, the whole shebang.
Wow. Okay, so this deep dive is going to cover all of that.
Totally. We're going to look at, like, what each type is good for, what the downsides might be.
Makes sense.
Plus, he's got, like, his top picks for the year in different categories.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So, like, best overall, best for different needs, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And you know what else is cool?
What's that?
He actually, like, goes into what people are saying about creatine on Reddit,
Yeah.
like on our supplement subreddit.
Oh, that's interesting. So we're going to get, like, the expert opinion and what everyday people are saying.
Right. It's like a really well-rounded perspective.
I'm already learning so much.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
So, before we get too deep into all the different types and stuff,
Uh-huh.
let's just start with the basics.
Right, back to the fundamentals.
Like, why is creatine such a big deal in the fitness world? Why are people so into it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I've heard it's supposed to be really good for building muscle, but is that it?
Well, it's definitely known for that.
Hmm.
But Mohammed's article actually points out that it's not just for bodybuilders anymore.
Oh, interesting. So it's like going mainstream then.
Kind of.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like becoming more recognized for its wider benefits.
That makes sense. More people are getting into fitness and health now than ever.
Totally. And the article really emphasizes that there's like a ton of research backing up the benefits of creatine. It's not just hype.
So it's not just like some fad diet or something. It's actually been studied for a while.
Exactly. He says there's like 30 years of research behind it.
Wow. Okay, so that's pretty legit then.
Definitely. So those classic benefits you mentioned, like boosting strength, increasing power, helping build muscle, those are still like the main reasons people take it.
That's what I figured.
But here's something that might surprise you.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
The article also talks about how creatine can be good for your brain.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, it can actually support brain health.
I had no idea about that.
I know, right? It's not usually the first thing you think of when you hear creatine.
I was associated with like lifting weights and stuff.
Same here. But apparently, there's a growing body of research on its cognitive benefits.
So it's not just about physical performance. It can actually help you think better, too.
That's what the research is suggesting. It could potentially help with things like memory and focus.
That's incredible. Okay, I'm even more interested in creatine now.
I know, it's really cool. So, like, imagine hitting the gym, getting those gains, and then, like, acing your next exam, too.
Haha, that would be awesome.
So, yeah, creatine's clearly got a lot going for it. But let's dive into why there are so many different forms of it now.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. Like, why is there not just one type that works for everyone?
Well, it kind of comes down to, like, how your body reacts to it, how you like to take it, and what your priorities are.
Right. Makes sense.
So Mohammed breaks down the most popular types in his article.
Okay, let's hear it.
First up is the one you've probably heard of, creatine monohydrate.
Yeah, that's the classic one, right?
Yep. It's like the OG creatine. It's been around forever.
So, like, what's so special about it?
Well, for one thing, it's the most researched type of creatine out there. Like, there are tons of studies on it.
Okay, so we know it actually works, then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's generally the most affordable option, too.
So, like, good for people on a budget.
For sure.
Yeah.
And get this, even the National Institutes of Health recognizes its effectiveness.
Wow, so it's, like, officially legit, then?
Totally. Like, they're a pretty reputable source.
Yeah, for sure.
But there is one potential downside.
Oh, there's always a catch, right?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Some people experience bloating when they take creatine monohydrate.
Oh, okay, I've heard about that.
Yeah, it's like a common side effect, but not everyone gets it.
So it's kind of like a gamble, then?
In a way. But that's
Yeah.
why other forms of creatine have popped up. Like they're trying to
Yeah.
solve that bloating issue.
Oh, that makes sense. So what's next on the list?
All right, so the next one is CreatineHCl, which is short for hydrochloride.
Okay, so what's the deal with this one?
Well, the main thing is it's often easier on the stomach, so less bloating for a lot of people.
Interesting. So like a gentler version of creatine?
You could say that, but it's important to note that there isn't as much research on CreatineHCl compared to monohydrate.
Right, so it's newer then.
Yeah, it's like the new kid on the block. Still got to prove itself a bit more,
Gotcha.
and it's usually pricier too.
So you're paying for the convenience then?
Kind of.
Yep.
Like you're paying for the potential lack of bloating,
All right, so it's a trade-off.
pretty much.
Yeah.
But hey, if you're really sensitive to bloating, it might be worth it.
Yeah, I could see that. So are those like the only two types?
Nope, there are a couple more that are getting popular.
Okay, lay it on me.
So next up, we've got creatine gummies,
Gummies, like candy.
pretty much. They're like the tastiest way to get your creatine.
Interesting. So like no more talkie powder.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
all about convenience with these.
I can see the appeal for sure.
And since they're pre-portioned, you don't have to worry about measuring anything out.
Oh, that's a plus for sure. Especially if you're like on the go or something.
Exactly. But the downside is they usually have a lower dose of creatine per serving compared to the powders.
Oh, okay. So you might need to eat a bunch of gummies to get the same amount.
Yeah, potentially. So it's something to keep in mind.
Makes sense. Okay, so what's the last type then?
Last but not least, we have creatine capsules.
Capsules. So like pills?
Yep, basically.
Yeah.
They're tasteless, which some people prefer.
Yeah, I can see that. Some people hate that chalky powder taste.
Totally. And they're super portable, too. Like, you can easily toss them in your gym bag or take them when you travel.
Convenient.
Super convenient. But the main drawback is that they might be absorbed a bit slower than the powders.
Oh, so it takes longer to get into your system?
It could, yeah. But it's not like a huge difference or anything.
Okay, so it's all about like finding the right balance then.
Totally. Like, what's most important to you? Convenience, taste, speed of absorption, budget, all that stuff.
Yeah, this is helpful. Thanks for breaking it all down for me.
No problem. So now for the fun part, Muhammad's top creatine picks for 2025.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's hear them.
First up, we've got the best overall, and the winner is, drumroll please,
Aha! Okay, go ahead.
Optimum Nutrition Micronized Creatine Monohydrate.
Okay, so the classic takes the crown.
It does.
Yes.
And for good reason. Like Mohammed says, it dissolves super easily.
That's always a good thing.
Right. No one wants clumpy creatine.
For real. And it's third-party tested too, right?
Yep. So, it's actually what it says it is.
That's important. I don't want to be taking something that's not pure.
Exactly. And it's pretty affordable, too.
So like a solid all-around choice.
Pretty much. If you're not sure where to start, this is a good bet.
Okay, I'm taking notes.
Good. Now for the best for sensitive stomachs category.
Ooh, this is important. I don't want to get bloated.
I hear ya. So for this one, Mohammed recommends Kaged Elite Creatine HCl.
Okay, so the HCl form, yeah.
Exactly. He says it's really good for people who have trouble with bloating.
So like minimal digestive discomfort.
Yep. And it absorbs quickly, too.
That's a bonus.
It is.
Yeah.
And he mentions it mixes well, too.
Always a plus.
So if you've had bad experiences with creatine in the past because of stomach issues, this one might be worth trying.
Okay, good to know. I'll keep that one in mind.
All right, now for something completely different.
Mhm.
The Best Gummy Award goes to Creatine.
Let me guess something with a cool name.
Uh-huh, maybe. But it's actually pretty straightforward. MuscleTech Creatine Gummies.
MuscleTech gummies. Okay, I can see it.
Right, so the main selling point here is the taste.
Yeah, gummies are usually pretty tasty.
Exactly, and Mohammed says these taste like candy.
It's old.
Plus, there's no measuring or mixing involved. Just pop a gummy and you're good to go.
That's super convenient.
It is, especially if you're busy or you travel a lot.
Yeah, I can see how these would be perfect for people who are always on the move.
Totally.
Yeah.
So gummies might not be the most potent form of creatine, but they're definitely the most convenient.
Makes sense. All right, what about capsules?
Okay, so for best capsules, it's back to Optimum Nutrition.
Really? They got 2 awards.
They do. They're killing it.
Yeah.
This time it's for their micronized creatine monohydrate capsules.
So like the same stuff as the powder, but in capsule form?
Exactly. Same quality, different delivery method.
Gotcha.
And Mohammed emphasizes that these capsules are ultra pure. Like they've been tested and they meet really high standards.
So you know you're getting the good stuff.
Exactly. And they've also been tested for banned substances.
So like safe for athletes to use.
Yep. Which is super important if you're competing.
Makes sense.
And of course, they're super travel friendly. Just throw them in your bag and you're good to go.
So capsules are like the middle ground then. Not as convenient as gummies, but more portable than powder.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, so we've covered all the different types and some top picks.
We have. But you know what I think is really cool about Mohammed's article?
What's that?
He actually goes into what real people are saying about creatine on Reddit.
Oh, yeah, I remember you mentioned that.
So he specifically mentions the Source Supplements subreddit.
Okay, so like a community of people who are really into supplements.
Totally. And he says there's a lot of love for creatine monohydrate there.
Not surprising, right? It's like the classic for a reason.
Yeah. And people are praising it for its effectiveness and affordability.
Makes sense. Like it's been around forever and it works.
Exactly. So it's not just experts saying it's good. Everyday people are seeing results too.
That's reassuring to know.
Right. Like it's tried and true.
Okay, what about the gummies? What are people saying about those?
Well, it's a bit more divided on those.
Really?
Yeah. Like some people love them for the convenience and the taste.
Yeah, I get that.
But other people are more skeptical. Like they think they're just glorified candy.
Haha. So like not enough bang for your buck?
Kind of. Like they question whether you're actually getting enough creatine from them.
Yeah, I can see that perspective too.
And some people just prefer the ritual of mixing their own creatine, you know?
Yeah, it's like a whole thing.
It is. So yeah, the gummies are definitely a personal preference thing.
Okay, so monohydrate is a safe bet. Gummies are more divisive.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Now, Mohammed also mentions that there's been some debate about the newer, fancier types of creatine.
Oh, yeah, like what are those?
Well, there's buffered creatine, for example.
Okay, I've heard of that one.
It's supposed to be like even gentler on the stomach than HCl.
Interesting.
But the article kind of suggests that for most people, it's not really necessary.
So like stick with the basics unless you have a specific reason.
Exactly. Like if you're having trouble with monohydrate or HCl, then maybe explore the fancier stuff.
But otherwise, no need to spend extra money.
Exactly.
So all in all, what's like the main takeaway from this article when it comes to choosing a creatine supplement?
Well, Mohammed's big point is that the best creatine for you is the one you'll actually use consistently.
That makes sense.
Right. Like it doesn't matter if it's the most amazing form of creatine in the world if you hate taking it.
Totally. Like consistency is key with any supplement.
Exactly. And he says for like 90% of people, a simple monohydrate option is going to be perfect.
Okay, so that's a good starting point.
It is.
Yeah.
But he also acknowledges that some people might prefer gummies or HCl for like convenience or digestive reasons.
Right, like we talked about earlier.
And he gives some good practical advice too. Like start with a small dose and see how your body reacts.
That's smart. You don't want to overdo it right off the bat.
Definitely. So hopefully this deep dive has given you a much clearer picture of the creatine landscape in 2025.
It definitely has. I feel way more informed now.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. So you know what's crazy to think about?
What's that?
Even with something like monohydrate, which has been around forever, people can still have slightly different experiences with it.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone's body is different.
Exactly. So I wonder, like, what innovations we'll see in the future that go beyond just the delivery method or the basic formulation.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Like, what if we could personalize creatine even more? You know, what if we could tailor it to individual needs?
Oh, that would be game-changing.
Right. Like, imagine if there was a creatine that was specifically designed to optimize your brain function or your muscle growth based on your unique genetics.
That would be incredible, like the future of supplements.
Exactly. It's
Well-
exciting to think about what's possible.
It is. Thanks for sharing all this with me. It's been really helpful.
No problem. I'm glad we could do this deep dive together.
This was awesome. Thanks again.
Anytime. And thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Bye for now.
See ya.